Hello and welcome me everyone. Sit nicely and have a cup of tea. In a few seconds, we are going to start our stories from today. Enjoy and don't forget to follow for more. The first story is, am I an idiot for refusing to sign a prenup after marriage? Let's hear it.
My husband 35M and I 33F have been married for 6 years and together for 10. We knew each other forever. LOL. We have 3 kids. When we got married, we were both pharmacists. 2 years into our marriage, my husband opened a family business with his father, and the business is doing really well. My husband gets 50% of the net revenue and owns a good amount of money, but everything is tied up in the company, and the balance is updated every year as the business grows. His father is worried that if we ever get divorced, I'll ask for half of the business's money, so he wants me to sign a document relinquishing that right. For context, we're Muslims, and in Islam, the woman is entitled to what was agreed upon prior to marriage in case of divorce. For me, that amount is around $120,000, and our house is already 50/50, so I wouldn't ask for anything more. However, I don't want to sign anything. I feel my husband should trust me when I say I would never ask for half of his share in the business. I also pointed out that his dad didn't ask his mom to sign such a document, so why should I have to? So, am I the asshole for refusing to sign this? Update. First, I want to sincerely thank everyone for their words. I truly benefited from each and every comment, and I felt so empowered reading your perspectives. I couldn't sleep last night thinking about what to say to my husband. He usually wakes up around 5 a.m. to go to the gym and have his coffee in peace before the kids wake up. So I decided to wake up with him. Hello, headache all day. I told him that I was completely shocked when he asked me to sign this document, especially since he was actually okay with me signing it. I asked him, how can you say I'm not entitled to anything? I work my ass off from 9 to 5, then come home to cook, take care of the kids, and handle bedtime. And at the end of the month, I don't see a penny. Everything goes to the bills. Sure, he pays for our trips, clothes, and gifts, but I never ask for anything or tell him what to buy me. Then I brought up religion. I told him, if you want to talk about religion, let's be fair about it. Islamically, my money is my own, and you're not supposed to use it. If that's the case, I want every dollar I earned back, around $300,000 for the 5 years I worked. I also told him that if he really wants me to sign, I will, but with my own lawyer. Because apparently, I've been too naive and should have known better. Finally, I told him that we were supposed to be saving together, but now he's saying that in case of divorce, I get nothing. So what was all my hard work for? At one point, I got really emotional and started crying because I was genuinely hurt that he thought this was okay. That's when he hugged me, apologized, and promised he wouldn't ask me to sign anything. He even said he's willing to put half of everything in my name right now, just not the controlling rights and whatnot. I still have a lot to process, and the meeting with the accountant who suggested this in the first place, but at least for now I feel heard.
So, what are your thoughts about the story? It is super interesting, right? The author exposes a situation where she refuses to sign a prenuptial agreement after marriage, even with her father-in-law's concerns about the future finances in case of a divorce. What's really cool is that she brings up a reflection about trust and equality in the relationship, which ends up raising a valid question. To what extent should we protect what we've already built over the years? And how far should love go in ensuring one person trusts the other? She also brings in the religious aspect, providing a cultural and even legal foundation for the situation. I thought it was a really strong attitude, because it's not easy to face a situation like this in a marriage. At the same time, she expresses her frustration very clearly, showing that trust in a relationship has to be mutual, and that, in many cases, a simple contract can cause more insecurity than protection. Those are my thoughts about it. What about you? I would love to read your comments after today's video. Don't forget to subscribe, so you won't miss the next video. Well, let me introduce you the next story. The title is, am I a jerk for not going to my brother's wedding because his fiancee excluded my wife from the guest list? Let's hear it.
My brother James is getting married next month, and what should have been a joyous family event has turned into a nightmare. The issue, his fiancée, Emily, didn't invite my wife, Lisa, to the wedding. Emily and Lisa have never been close, but I wouldn't call them enemies either. However, Emily has always seemed a bit cold toward Lisa. The tipping point was last year during a family vacation. Lisa, who's naturally outgoing and bubbly, struck up conversations with everyone, including strangers at the resort. Emily, who's quieter and more reserved, seemed annoyed by this. After the trip, She told James that Lisa was attention-seeking and accused her of making the vacation all about herself. I didn't think much of it at the time, chalking it up to personality differences. Fast forward to now, and Emily has made it clear she doesn't want Lisa at her wedding. When I confronted James about it, he admitted it was Emily's decision and said he didn't want to push back because it's her day. He added that I should respect Emily's wishes and come to the wedding alone, for the sake of family harmony. I was stunned. Lisa and I have been married for 5 years. She's part of this family. Excluding her feels like a slap in the face, not just to her but to me as well. When I told James the first wouldn't attend without Lisa, he accused me of being dramatic and trying to punish him for something out of his control. He said I was letting Lisa's hurt feelings ruin his wedding day. Our parents are divided. My dad says I'm right to stand by my wife and that James and Emily are being unreasonable. My mom, on the other hand, thinks I should just keep the peace and attend the wedding because it's not worth destroying your relationship with your brother over one day. Lisa has been deeply hurt by the whole ordeal. She feels disrespected and excluded and told me she would never have done something like this if the roles were reversed. She's trying to be supportive of whatever decision I make, but I can tell she'd be devastated if I went to the wedding without her. It's put a strain on our marriage because she feels like I'm not standing up for her enough. At the same time, James is my only sibling, and I've always thought we were close. I know skipping his wedding will hurt him, and it could permanently damage our relationship. Part of me wonders if I should just swallow my pride and go for his sake. But another part of me feels like this isn't just about one day, it's about standing up for what's right. I don't want to ruin my brother's wedding, but I also don't want to betray my wife or compromise my values. So, am I wrong for refusing to go to my brother's wedding without Lisa?
This one is really strong, right? I totally understand the guy's dilemma because he's prioritizing loyalty to his wife. And that's really important in a relationship. What's most interesting here is how he frames the issue of his wife being excluded, not just as a family argument, but something that touches on his values. He refuses to go to the wedding without her because he feels it's a form of disrespect, both to her and to him. Don't you agree with me? Also, he's very honest about the internal conflict he's going through. It's a very delicate situation because on one hand, he wants to maintain his relationship with his brother, but on the other hand, he can't just ignore what's happening in his own marriage. I think his response was very honest and even brave, if I might say, because he's not just trying to avoid the conflict, but facing the issue in a way that values his wife, which is something admirable. What do you think? You can comment twice. I'll be happy to read it. What about this kind of video? I am thinking about doing a podcast like. Do you like it? I hope you do. Before the last story, I will let you hear one of my songs. I hope you don't mind. It is called Hopefull Whisper. It is just instrumental, no lyric. Enjoy. Grab another cup of tea and I'll be back. How was it? I am really nervous about your answer right now. Anyway, let's hear our last story for today. The title is, Am I the jerk for feeling like I was forced to get back with my ex? Let's hear it.
I am 22, male. A few weeks ago shared the story of my breakup here, so I won't go over everything that happened again, because just remembering it gives me a headache. But in short, I broke up with her because of excessive and irrational jealousy. Up to that point, everything was fine, and I continued living my life normally, as if she hadn't changed for the better or worse. A few days later, I received a message from one of her friends, calling me everything but a saint and saying she was suffering because of me. I just ignored it because, in my mind, it didn't make sense that she didn't trust me and was suffering so much for me, so I thought she was just exaggerating and being dramatic. I didn't give much attention to it because, as the saying goes, out of sight, out of mind. Then yesterday, at 10 in the morning, I received several calls from my ex-girlfriend's mom. Since I was working, I didn't answer and only checked it during my lunch break. The girl had an anxiety attack, took several pills, and ended up in the ER because she couldn't stop vomiting and was being medicated through 4. Her mom handed the phone to her, and I told her to calm down, that everything would be fine, and that she shouldn't try that again. She was crying a lot, and I could barely understand her. I asked her to pass the phone back to her mom and asked when she would be discharged. She said she should be out later that day and asked if I could visit her at home. I told her I was busy and wouldn't be able to come for now, but that was a lie. I just didn't want the responsibility of going, in case I changed my mind at the last minute. Later, at home, while helping my mom prepare dinner, I told her what had happened, and she asked me if I wasn't going to visit her. I said I didn't want to and didn't feel obligated to go, that she had friends to cheer her up, and that she needed a therapist, not support from someone who made her feel insecure. My mom then said, "Wow, you're really mean, huh? It wouldn't hurt to go visit the girl. Now I see why none of your relationships worked. This way, you'll end up alone." After that, I lost my appetite for dinner. It was tough hearing that coming from my mom, who has been single for over 15 years. I expected this reaction from her, though, since when I brought my girlfriends home, she'd practically carry them in her arms and feed them. Anyway, it left a bitter taste in my mouth and totally ruined my sleep. This morning, I woke up determined to go to her house, at least to see if she was okay and get this weight off my shoulders, even though I didn't feel guilty about anything. I spent the whole day thinking about what to say for any reaction she might have. When I got there, the first thing I did was regret taking off my shoes at the door because her room floor was filthy and sticky. And all the planning I had, useless. I couldn't say anything. She wouldn't stop crying and screaming, which I thought only babies and toddlers could do. I felt so tense and uncomfortable, and her mom and brother watching from the hallway didn't help. I didn't know what to do anymore, so I asked if she wanted me to teach her to play bass, since she had asked a few times, but I never had the patience to teach anyone. I was teaching her the basics, and it felt like I was talking to a door. Then I remembered why I never wanted to teach anyone. After some time, I turned off the computer and gave up. She asked me to unblock her on WhatsApp. I asked her to give me her number since I had deleted her contact. Then you can imagine what happened. What was already bad got twice as worse. She grabbed my phone and started going through every chat on WhatsApp and looking at my call history. At that point, I started questioning why I even came. I was beginning to feel suffocated, and my hands and legs started trembling. She grabbed her phone and started showing me audio messages I had sent her and asked if those messages where I said I would love her forever, and that the happiest part of my life was being with her were false and empty. I just said no to her, but the truth is, those are just common things to say in relationships. I've lost count of how many times I've said those things to girls, and look where it got me. She asked if we could try again and that this time it would be different. Since I felt really pressured, like a knife was against my throat, I agreed. She asked if I still had my wedding ring, and I lied and said yes, I threw it away. What was I supposed to do with it now that I was single? I left with my shoulders soaked with her tears and mucus, feeling completely tangled up. When I got home, I saw a friend outside and decided to talk to him about it. I told him the whole story, and he said, "You're an idiot. The girl almost died and was begging to talk to you, and you didn't want to because of pure pride. Are you crazy? There's no one more insensitive than you." I just didn't want to go back into a relationship that was so broken, where the person doesn't trust me, and I'm not fully happy. What's wrong with that? Why does everyone act like I'm the villain and selfish just for wanting to move on with my life?
What's wrong with that, indeed? I think this story presents a really interesting reflection on the pressure people can put on others' emotions. The author is trying to take care of himself by distancing himself from a relationship that clearly no longer served him well. It's a tough situation because he still has some emotional responsibility. But his decision not to return to a toxic relationship shows that he is trying to be honest with himself, which is very important. Right? Additionally, he demonstrates emotional maturity by reflecting on the situation so deeply that even I felt sorry for him. He acknowledges the relationship's flaws and isn't afraid to question his own feelings. This is essential for personal growth. Even though the external reactions are strong, he stays true to his values and tries to move forward without making concessions that compromise his well-being. This is something many people still need to learn to do. Anyway, we are going to say goodbye for today. I really hope you enjoyed your time here with me as much as I did. Thank you for watching. I will post the next chapter next Monday. And if you really like it, I will increase the frequency of the posts. Okay, goodbye and come back soon. See you next time.